Now to more environmental matters. This week, BHP Billiton and the South Australian Government signed a deal to create the world's largest open-pit uranium mine in the state's far north. Under the agreement, the company will be entitled to continue drawing millions of litres of water from the Great Artesian Basin, even though its own desalination plant will make it self-sufficient. Shortly, we'll hear from Greens MP Mark Parnell, but first, Paul Clarick has this background report.
There is nothing like this in world history.
Olympic Dam and South Australia will be to the uranium market what Saudi Arabia is to the world's oil market.
BHP Billiton's proposal to create the world's largest uranium mine has been 6 years in the making. This week, the South Australian Government signed a deal to make it happen, amid promises of unprecedented prosperity.
According to BHP's Billiton's EIS, some of the benefits include the generation of $6.9 billion towards the gross state product per year at full production, the creation of up to 6,000 new jobs during construction, and a further 4,000 full-time jobs at the expanded open pit, and an estimated 15,000 new indirect jobs.
The proposal includes a new gas-fired power station, a new airport, a new rail line to the national rail network, and a new freight terminal. Much of the attention so far has focused on the proposal to build a desalination plant at Point Lowly in the Upper Spencer Gulf, the breeding ground for the giant cuttlefish. That desalination plant will produce 280 million litres of fresh water a day, about 40 million litres a day more than it requires. BHP Billiton will also be entitled to continue drawing 42 million litres of water out of the Great Artesian Basin, and that has some people concerned. Richard QUILTY owns 5,000 BHP shares and is keen for the Olympic Dam expansion to proceed.
I'm an extremely strong supporter of what is happening in South Australia. I think the BHP Billiton expansion is not only going to be beneficial for shareholders like me, it's going to be enormously beneficial for South Australians and for the whole of Australia. But as a part owner in that company, I want this thing to be done right.
On his blog SaveTheBasin.com, Richard QUILTY contends that it's unethical for BHP to have access to water it doesn't require.
And our submission to the South Australian Government was that as a condition of consent to the expansion of the mine, BHP should be required to surrender its licence to GAB Water as soon as its desalination plant is commissioned.
The Great Artesian Basin underlies about 1/5 of the continent and is estimated to hold about 65 million megalitres of water. Until now, BHP Billiton has been able to draw all its water from the Great Artesian Basin for free. Under the expansion proposal, it will have to pay a charge.
Which is about 3 cents a kilolitre, I'm right, in a kilolitre, going up to a maximum ceiling of some 10 cents a kilolitre.
That suggests the company will pay as little as $1,200 a day for the 42 million litres of water. Richard QUILTY estimates that domestic consumers would pay about $88,000 a day for the same amount. But he's calling on the South Australian Parliament to strike out the company's right to take any water from the basin once its desalination plant is operating.
If they do not grasp this opportunity now, BHP will ensure that it continues to operate within the terms of that licence, and under the terms of that licence it will continue to pump water for up to 130 years.
University of Sydney hydrologist WILLEM VERVOOrt says the basin is under serious threat.
Levels in the bores that are in the Great Artesian Basin are falling. There used to be basically so much pressure that the water would shoot up quite a high level above ground, but over the years many bores have stopped flowing.
The agreement between the South Australian Government and the mining giant has led to renewed calls for federal control of the Great Artesian Basin.
the movement of water is very, very slow. So if you keep extracting at the rate that BHP Billiton proposes for 130 years, then you will have, at some point, you will have some impact, because that water has to come from somewhere.
Marius Kloppers and I just signed this indenture agreement.
The agreement signed by Mike Rann will be introduced into state parliament next week, just days before he retires as Premier, and under the terms of the indenture, it has to be passed by Christmas.
We will not be wanting or expecting there to be any amendment to the indenture agreement, but ultimately Parliament will do what parliaments do.